Has there ever been an addiction to something you experienced in your life that you were able to successfully quit and overcome?
Uh, yeah, probably Xanax. I was on that for a little bit, and I had to. It took me a minute to realize that it was taking control of me. So started to like fall back on it. Started to. It actually took one of my engineer to tell me that, you know, that how I was moving, how I was acting, it was taking a lot of time out of my day and stuff like that, and it was just like making me fall down. And he told me, pulled me off to the side, and he was like, "Yo," and that was the first time anybody had ever like told me about it. But yeah, it was Xanax.
You've quit it completely.
Yeah,
When's the last time you took one? Rough
maybe like
estimate.
maybe like a year ago.
And for time reference, it's April 2022 now. Now, is this something you've gone public about quitting, or is this something that you've just kept private?
I kept it private, cause like I never had like an issue like that before. It just was one of those things where I battled with depression. And so like when I had went to the therapist, that's what he gave me. But it started to just like eat at me. But nah, I just quit cold turkey. I just did it in silence because everybody that I hang around, they know me for being like the leader, somebody strong. I don't do none of that extra stuff. I don't smoke. I don't drink. It was just that. So yeah,
Is this something you actually discussed with that therapist?
yeah. I told him. I ended up telling him what it did to me, and we worked past it. We worked past it. Like we found other ways for me to cope with, depression and anxiety and stuff like that.
When it comes to depression, when it comes to anxiety, are these two items aspects that that you continue to battle with, or have you overcome those two items as well?
Nah, man, I battle with it every day. I feel like um, mental health is something that needs to be spoken about more. I feel like it's not a lot of people that everybody think they so hard they can't talk about it and express themselves. So, nah, man, I go through the same emotions, same emotions
When it comes to your use of Xanax, was that something that was ever mentioned in your music lyrically?
for sure, for sure, 100%, 100%.
Was it ever expressed in your music as an addiction or the aspect of it as an addiction or quitting that drug or the drug use at all?
It was more so. I guess, yeah. I guess like me saying like I quitted it, but it was also I also used it in like that's where I was. Like say wherever I was writing about at the time, that's where I was. And that was keeping me contained. But then I also got records where I'm telling people like that's not the answer. You know what I'm saying? Like there's other ways to cope with your mental health. So yeah.
That message that you just expressed, do you know the name of the title to that song if people watching this getting to know you for the very first time want to hear those lyrics?
Yeah, anxiety is out right now.
And is that off of a body of work?
Yeah. No, 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 it's a single. It's a
Okay.
single.
How long do you think that addiction to Xanax lasted for in your life? Rough estimate. Where, and this is just the portion of not just using it as prescribed, but where it actually kicks in as an addiction and you recognize it's an addiction and taking control as you described. How long do you think that amount of time lasted in your life for?
I don't wanna lie to you, Smalls. Maybe like a year and some change, roughly. Yeah.
Do you remember what age that took place in your life?
Repeat the question?
Do you remember what age that took place in your life? The
Oh,
addiction portion.
yeah, for sure. Like 22, 23, for sure.
Was that an addiction, if you can recollect, something that happened right away or it took time to progress into one?
It took time. It took time for sure. Like, cause at first it started off as taking it as prescribed, and then I don't know if it wasn't strong enough or if it was just helping me clear my mind, because like when you're an artist, like and like not even just an artist, but like when you going through everyday life, man, it eats at you. You know what I'm saying? People suffer with it. I'm a survivor of that. You know what I'm saying? And it definitely slowly took its turn. You know, the more I started making music, the more life was happening, the things was happening around me. It was like, you know, I was taking them as prescribed, but then I may add one more. I may add two more. I never mixed it with alcohol. I don't, like I said, I don't drink or smoke. So it's like, it just was like I was taking two, and maybe I'd take four. You know what I'm saying? And then it just progressed, you know, to the point where my engineer, like I said, he noticed it. You know, my girl noticed it. So it was like, you know, a lot of things like that, yeah.
And for full disclosure, the girl you're referencing is off camera to the side of you.
Yes.
Now, when it came to this addiction, as it started to progress into one, were you open about it with the prescriber, which was your therapist at the time, when you were popping an extra one, or you felt maybe the need for more? Did you converse this with that professional?
I did. I did. I told him what I was going through. We have an open relationship. It's not like one of those therapists you just kind of schedule and book an appointment and you go do your thing. It's like, nah, like we talk outside of that. You know, like he'll hit me up if I can't make an appointment, and he'll be like, you know, how you doing? You know, how you doing mentally? But I think at this time it was like, I went into his office at this point, and I really just like, you know, told him like at first it was helping me, but it was my fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at a certain time, you got to take responsibilities for your actions.
So during the course of this whole year that you felt you had an addiction to it, he was he was knowledgeable of this.
Nah, he didn't know. He didn't know I had an addiction to it. I didn't tell him for a minute. I hid it. I tried to not notice it. You know how you do stuff and you don't really know you doing it until somebody else tell you doing it, and then it's like you be like, damn, like maybe you're right. Yeah, so it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. I can't blame him. That's all I mean, man.
Now, when you actually converse with him about it, this is something you voluntarily tell him, or he also keys into this himself at some point.
I voluntarily told him. I told him this was a regular day. Just went in for, you know, just a checkup, just see what you're doing, see what you're on. And then like one day I just kind of broke down. I told him, I was like, this pill ain't it. You know what I'm saying? And then he was really acceptive of it. Like he wasn't tripping. He was like, you know, like let's talk about that. Let's see if we could wing off of that. You know what I'm saying? If it's doing that to you, we don't want that. That's not the point of it. So yeah.
Ever consumed a fake version of Xanax?
No.
It was all prescription.
Yes, sir.
Reflecting back, what do you think the scariest moment was when you used that drug? If there was a scary moment or maybe a bottom point, was it when the engineer, as you described, keyed into what was going on and pulls you to the side and expresses his concern, or was there even a worse point than that, so to speak?
That was definitely one of the turning points when my engineer told me, but it was also, it was like many nights I'd take it and like I won't remember nothing. Like I'd just be like, my mind would just be gone, you know, because like I was at a point in my life I didn't want to think about nothing. I was tired of hurting. So it's like anything that I could do to take it away, like if I had to add the extra pill, I'm gonna take that. Like because like what it does is it makes you stop thinking. Like you just mellow out. You know what I'm saying? You mellow out, you might go to sleep. And that was majority of the time, you know, because like when you be in the studio and you on it, and how I was on it, it was like I'd be in there writing, fall asleep, you know, and that's and that wasn't the purpose of it, you know what I'm saying? Because this is what I do. This is like my job, you know what I'm saying? So when he told me, it was like a big brother aspect. It was like, hey, I see you falling. I'm gonna pick you up though. So
Was the music starting to sound different under the use of that drug versus when you don't have that in your system?
it did for a second, but then I went back and it just made me more open. So what I did was I went back and I listened to the music and how it was, because that's when the streams was even higher. And I was like, well, it was a spike there. So I was like, what was I doing different? And like, we was listening to it, me and my team, and it was just like, you were more open. So like now, me being sober, I just took that same energy and I put it there. So, yeah.
At this point in your career, what do you think is the biggest song so far in your music collection?
The biggest song for me right now, Be Truth Is.
If you can recollect, was that created or recorded under the use of Xanax?
No, that was actually right before I started it, because I wrote the song because my granny passed away, and I was close to her, and I couldn't cry at the funeral, so I just wrote it. I wrote it in the funeral, and like the next day, we were still in New Orleans. I went and recorded it at my homeboy house. Yeah.
This grandmother you're referring to on your mother or father's side?
Father.
And how did she pass, if you don't mind sharing?
She was 88. It was Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's.
Because your biggest song to date is the song you mentioned, was not under the use of Xanax, does that encourage you even further to create music without the use of that drug?
For sure. For sure. I also feel like I was, like I said, I couldn't cry. So it was like I was so open because I wrote it right there. I looked at my father's emotions, everybody in their emotions, and it made me go back there and be like, well, you didn't have it then, you don't need it now. Like, you was just as open. So yeah, for sure, that song definitely saved my life.
When it comes to your therapist, does he know you're a recording artist, music producer, things of that nature?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Like, yeah.
What's his take on the use of music in your life, dealing with depression and anxiety and things of that nature?
Oh, he fuck with it. He's very supportive that I'm open about it. I don't mind talking about it. You know, a lot of people, they walk around like they big dog, and it's like they hurting inside. You know what I'm saying? I see through all that. You know, so uh, he's really embracive of it. Like, he listens to the music. When I walk in, he'll ask me what I dropped recently. You know, like I just talked to him a few days ago. So yeah, real supportive.
And you mentioned earlier in this portion of the interview that the therapist said something about maybe weaning you off. How were you able to quit? Was it an actual weaning off, or was it the flip of a light switch, so to speak? Cold turkey, as they say.
He took me off completely. He took it off me completely because, like, I told him, I was like, I'm starting to notice it, you know what I'm saying? So he took me off it completely. We talked about it. We talked about meditation. I'm into stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Just really getting your mind right, because a lot of people, they, like I said, they walk around like they got it and they don't.
Prior to him taking you off the drug, were you trying to quit on your own by any chance? Before it got to that point?
No, I wasn't.
And how did your body react when that drug was no longer available to you, prescription-wise?
I was antsy. Everything was like looking over my shoulder. I don't really know what's going on. Just trying not, just like, I wasn't one of those ones, like, you know, you get off of it and you like start going through, like, you know, a whole change. Like, nah, it's just like I was just antsy. I was just like, I hear something, I start looking, you know what I'm saying? I don't trust nothing.
How long do you think before that feeling wore off?
I don't even think it really wore off. I think, because I'm still like that. I think it's just PTSD at this point. But I'm better now. I can say that. I'm stronger than I ever been.
You've already mentioned depression. You've already mentioned anxiety. Is PTSD something you've actually been diagnosed with as well?
No, but I know I have it for sure. Because this is things I've seen before. This is things I've seen just growing up in the environment that I did, which I talk about it on anxiety. Like, definitely, I know. I mean, we talked about that too, but Like,
But he never diagnosed you with
nah,
PTSD officially.
nah.
Just depression and anxiety so
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
And was there any relapse at all for you after he takes you off that prescription by any chance?
No, no. I'm glad to say that.
Did you have any kind of support system aside from him being the professional in your life at that time when it came to quitting this drug use?
No, I didn't. I did it on my own. I didn't want nobody to see me weak. I didn't want nobody to see that I was struggling with something, so I tried to hide it and try to make myself as strong as the person that I knew I was to get off it because I knew I could do it.
Your girl was aware of the situation, though.
Yes.
Was she any support or any part of the supportive system on helping you quit?
Yeah, but I didn't want to worry her too much. So I try to tell her as little information as possible.
What have you noticed health-wise, mentally or physically, since you quit the use of Xanax?
Stronger, mentally, physically. I've been in the gym. I've been working on me mentally. You know, I wouldn't say it had a negative effect. Like I said, I went through that little rough stage once you get off of it, but I just taught myself that I was stronger than that pill was.
If you feel like you've answered these next few questions already, then you can skip it or add on to what you've already said. And if not, feel free to provide an answer, of course. But what did this entire experience teach you? What did you learn from this addiction period in your life of Xanax?
That drugs ain't the answer. You know what I'm saying? Like when you were given a drug to help with something that you're facing or that you go through and you abuse it, is consequences to that, and is some people don't come back from that. You know what I'm saying? Once you fall, some people just fall and that's where you stay at. But it just really taught me to just keep going, like to just, it's always a light if you find it, if you're looking for it.
If you could turn back the hands of time, would you have done anything different in this situation?
No, I feel like everything happens for a reason. I feel like the music that came from it, the experience, the things that I learned from going through it, I feel like everything happened for a reason.
What do you wish you knew before you became addicted to Xanax, if anything?
That should have put you on your ass if you if you not used to it. Like for sure. Like if you not used to it and you just taking them hoes, like for sure, you gon' feel it and you may not remember some shit. Like I definitely learned that.
You ever seen that movie Men in Black?
Yeah.
Is it almost like the contraption Will Smith uses when, that memory loss thingamajig he has?
Kinda, sorta. Like sometimes I didn't remember nothing. Like my homeboys would tell me something, I'd be like, that happened? Like I was there? Like, nah, it's for sure. Yeah.
Would they ever capture any of that on video of maybe what you were doing that you didn't remember?
Nah, my homeboy is solid. They're not gonna do that.
Respectfully asking you this here, was either of your parents Xanax users?
No.
And also respectfully asking here, does addiction run in your family by any chance?
Yeah. Yeah. It does. Like Adderall, painkillers, stuff like that. Yeah.
What do you want people watching this interview to know about those addicted to Xanax, if anything?
It's not the way to go. It's not the way to go. Whatever you going through, we here for you. Like I said, we all in this together. If you struggling with it, there's a way to get out of it. Just stay around the right circle. Be strong. Don't be weak-minded and let that stuff take over you. And you're going to find the light if you're looking for it, like I said.
Winding down, circumstances could be different for everyone, but generally speaking, let's say somebody's watching this interview and they're trying to quit their addiction to Xanax. They've already made that decision that they want to do that. Anything you would say to them?
Your head's in the right spot, for sure. You definitely on the right track. It's not easy. It's not easy. So the fact that you want to do it, that's a start. You got to want to do it. Because once you want it, it goes fast. Like, you don't even know it sometimes. And I just tell them, shit, we're going to get through this together. We're going to do it. I'm all for the people, man.
Anything else you want to mention about an addiction to Xanax, or question you weren't asked people want to know about it?
No.
And has quitting Xanax inspired any others around you to do the same, whether it's that particular drug or maybe a different drug in any of their lives?
Yeah, I got some homeboys that started smoking weed and shit like that, and just started getting in the gym, started going hard. Yeah, like I started going this workout kick, man. Everybody just started tagging along and shit. So yeah,
And that happened after the addiction was over with?
yeah.